Good evening, everyone. This is the 5 p.m. 4 to 5 webinar, and I am Emily. My name is Emily, and I am a teacher at the Meravigli School in Milan. I am from the UK originally, from England, from the middle of England. Today, I am here with my colleague.
Hi, my name is Sean. I also work in the Meravigli School in Milan, and I come from Ireland.
So, if you are watching us, please tell us your name and where you are at the moment. Just say hello to us.
Definitely.
Okay, so today we are talking about visiting an art gallery. Sean, do you like visiting art galleries?
Yes, it's a big passion of mine. It's something I love to do. I studied art history, so it's one of my favorite things to do. Do you like visiting art galleries, Emily?
I do, yes. I am not an expert so much as you. I think you are better at art than me, but I
No.
do enjoy it also.
Mm,
Welcome everyone. We have Mattia, we have Maria,
mhm.
and Lucilla. Welcome all of you, all from different
Yes.
places.
Yes. Well, we're all in the same boat now, even France and Spain. We're all at home.
We are, yeah.
Yeah.
And tell us what are you doing at home? How do you keep busy?
I have actually been painting a lot.
Ah,
Um, yes, because it's something I normally don't have time to do. But now,
mhm,
of course, I do. So I'm enjoying that, if not the best
amazing.
circumstances. How about you? What
Yes.
have you been doing?
I have been reading a lot as I
Mm,
had a long list of books to read, and now I have the time to read
okay.
actually get to them, and also lots of films and a
Mm,
little writing. But
great.
lots of things. I stay busy. And
Mm.
what kind of thing do you paint, Sean? Do you paint people, landscapes?
I like to paint people. I like to paint portraits.
Hmm.
It's strange. I'm very particular. I have never painted objects or landscapes. For me, it's
Okay,
not interesting. Always people. I'm not sure why,
okay.
but always people. Mm.
So who are you painting now? Are you painting from photos?
Yes, obviously, I don't have anyone to paint from life.
Hmm.
So, as a subject, I usually choose old film stars because I find them to be very attractive. They make nice paintings.
They do. That's very
Yeah.
true. That sounds very fun. I would like to see them
Mm.
sometime. Um,
Sure,
okay.
after the quarantine, I'll have an exhibition.
Amazing. I would love that. Yeah. Okay, and welcome
Yeah.
to Fabrizio as well. And Antonia, welcome, welcome. Another
Yeah.
two people from Salerno today. Please,
Mm.
in the comments, tell us also what you are doing in this time period. Are you busy? Are you bored? What are you doing?
Mhm.
Okay, so maybe we will move on. So, in this focus activity, we will talk about giving opinions. Everyone has a lot of opinions about art, I think, and the simple past
Yeah.
and some vocabulary about art as well. Okay. So, Sean, do you want to read these questions?
Sure. So, do you like art? Do you prefer modern or traditional art? And how often do you visit art galleries?
Great, thank you. And welcome to Massimo, also from Naples. I've had lots and lots of students today, and Sean and I will talk about these questions, but please give us your answers also. We like to hear your opinions. Fabrizio likes art. Okay,
Yes,
great.
already. Yes, I do.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
I think it's
fantastic.
obvious that I do.
Hmm.
Do you, Emily? Do you like art?
I do like art, yes. Yeah. And do you prefer modern or traditional art?
For me, this is a difficult question.
Hmm.
I don't think I can answer. For me, I like both. It depends on the artist, not the style for me.
Hmm.
Do you have a preference?
Um, I think I prefer art from about 100 years ago. So mostly modern, but not contemporary, not from now. Um, but
Yes,
like
yeah.
you, I like a lot of eras, a lot of time periods.
Mm, mm. Yeah, for me, some contemporary art I'm not so sure about recently. But
Hmm.
definitely I love modern art.
Yes, I think some very recent art is like performance. It's like a different
Mm.
type of art.
Yeah, conceptual and performance
Hmm.
art. So Fabrizio prefers modern art because it is strange. Okay, good. Good to have
Yeah.
an opinion.
Hmm. Yeah, thank you.
And
I think
Massimo
that's very
also
true.
modern art. Hmm.
Hmm. Modern art is popular today. Okay.
Hmm.
So maybe, Sean, what do you like about traditional art?
Well, I think there's always something very impressive about a very skillful artist, somebody who can really capture a landscape or a person.
Hmm.
And the way they use color and things like this is always they're very beautiful, traditional paintings, I think, always very beautiful.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes, I think it
What
is
do you like about
obvious.
modern art?
Yeah, I agree with Fabrizio. Often it is strange, and um, they think about colours and style a little differently to traditional art. Maybe people have different levels of education, which is interesting to me. Okay,
Yeah,
we
definitely.
we have some more opinions as well. We have Mattia, mostly traditional art because they're more interesting than modern art. So, Mattia, this might be a typing error, but instead of in, you say before it is, or because it is, or because it's more interesting. Okay, so it's
Mm.
more interesting. All right, in the comments for you there. Okay, and welcome, Gemma, who likes contemporary art. Okay, maybe Gemma, tell us
Mm.
why you like contemporary art. What is interesting about it for you? Okay, we have this from Massimo. I have much difficult to understand contemporary art. Okay, so difficult is an adjective. So you normally say it is difficult. to understand. Just use it's. Okay. There. Mattia, don't worry. You don't need to apologise. That is what these sessions are for. They are for improving the English, thinking about improvements there. And okay, Gemma has answered the third question. I visit art galleries often.
Mm.
Great. Okay. Sean, do you often visit art galleries?
Yes, very often, I would say a
Mhm.
few times every month. Um,
Right.
it depends if I have time. The
Mhm.
great thing about Milan usually is there are so many, you can easily just visit one quickly when you have time.
That is true. Do you have a favourite art gallery?
Yes, my favorite art gallery in Milan is Museo del Novecento in
Mm.
Piazza Duomo, which is a great museum for modern art, for 20th century art, I think. Do you have a
Yes.
favorite museum?
I think Museo Novecento for me also. So I like that period of culture in general, but particularly art.
Hmm.
So, okay. We have some more comments. Fabrizio. Normally, I go to visit an art gallery twice a year. Okay, great. Um, do you visit an art gallery on holiday, Fabrizio, or in your city? And Mattia. Oh, Renaissance artists. Okay, Leonardo, Raffaello, Michelangelo. Yes, lovely. They are incredible artists, aren't they? Are those some of your
So
favourites also,
definitely.
Sean?
Yes, yes, definitely. For me, one of the most amazing experiences with art in all my
Mm.
life was to see the Sistine Chapel in Rome
Wow.
because it was a very hot day. The Vatican Museum was very busy. You have to go through many rooms before
Mm.
you reach the Sistine Chapel, and I thought this was a terrible idea. I'm having a really bad time. But when I got to this room, it was an experience like no other. It was totally worth it.
Okay, good.
Mm,
Yes, I like when visiting an art gallery is an experience. It is an event and not just something to fill time, something to spend time doing. That's what.
mm,
Okay.
mm.
Gemma, also in Milan, Fondazione
Yeah.
Prada, Hangar Bicocca. Okay, very contemporary art galleries there. Okay, okay. And Fabrizio, you answered my question. Thank you. So my last time I have visited an art gallery in Madrid. Wow. Okay. So that probably was
Mm,
on holiday there. Okay. So
yeah.
we will talk about the past simple a little later, I think, but we don't need the have there. Okay, so this is something that is different from Italian, from French, Spanish. We don't need the have in the past simple. So I visited an art gallery without have there. Thank you, Fabrizio. Great answer. Okay. And Mattia is an architect. Okay, architecture. Wonderful. Do you like architecture, Sean?
Yes, I studied architecture and art in university. For me, I like it, but it's more complicated. It's more difficult to talk about and to understand than art because I'm not sure. Do you like architecture, Emily?
I like architecture, but I don't know very much about architecture. I find it
Mm,
difficult to understand, but I like to look at
mm,
it. Mattia,
yeah.
maybe tell us, do you have a favorite architect? Do you have a favorite building or style of architecture? We would love to hear more from you. So I think we will move on. But keep writing the comments, guys. Some really good answers so far. Okay, so now we have some styles of art. Okay, so this for this activity, we match the style to the picture. Okay, so I will read these first, and please write what you think the correct answers are in the comments. And Sean and I will go through them, we will answer them. Okay, so we have one, Impressionist art, two, still life, three, sculpture, four, Renaissance, five, abstract, six, landscape, seven, portrait, and eight, surrealist art. Ah, and we have some architecture comments. Sagrada Familia, lovely. I visited that
Mm.
maybe 2 years ago. Very beautiful.
Oh.
And I think
Mm,
different every time you see it, which is interesting. And
okay.
great architect Lloyd, okay. The house on Waterfall. I don't
Mm.
know that building, Massimo. Do you know it, Sean?
Yeah, Frank Lloyd Wright, Falling Water, it's called. It's
Right.
amazing. The house is directly on top of a waterfall. It's really spectacular.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And Joe Ponti and Franco Gary. Okay. Some architects there for anyone interested. Thank you. So we also have
Mm.
first answer. So we have impressionist art. Ah, okay, it's the answers come the opposite way, um,
Yeah.
but we have so A. It looks like impressionist art. I know what you mean, but in fact, A is abstract. Abstract art. So, what is abstract art, Sean?
Abstract art is art where there is no subject. You are not trying to represent a person, a place, or a thing. You are just making shapes and patterns.
Hmm. Do you like abstract art?
Yeah, I do. Some abstract art I like a lot. It depends on the artist. For me, abstract art has to be very emotional to be effective. If not, for me, it's very boring. Do you like abstract art?
I completely agree with you. I like some abstract art. My favorite abstract artist is Rothko, Mark Rothko, because I
Me
find
too, the very same one.
it amazing. Yeah, because it
Yeah,
feels very emotional. You can look into
it
the
is.
face. Yeah. Okay. So I will write his name for anyone interested in the comments. So we will talk about impressionist art in a moment. Sean, would you like to take the next one or two?
Yeah, so we have still life. which is a bit of a strange one. I'll give a hint to the Italians. The direct translation of the Italian term would be dead nature, still life. So, if anyone has any ideas based on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then sculpture, I think, is again a similar term. We're talking 3 dimensions for sculpture. And Renaissance, we saw before. Abstract, yes. Landscape, we're talking about nature. Portraits, we're talking about people. And surrealist is an interesting one. How would you define surrealist, Emily?
I think I return to what Fabrizio said about modern art being strange. It is very, very strange, quite modern art that puts very different things together a lot of the time. Maybe things that
Mm,
you don't expect to be in the same image,
yeah,
like a dream.
yeah.
Okay, so please keep your ideas coming in the comments. Okay. Um, Mattia asks, do you like Christo Yavachev? Forgive my pronunciation. Um, so he is a very crazy artist. I don't know him at all. I will
Mm,
Google him. Do you know him?
neither do I, neither do I, no.
Okay. Okay, we will research him, Mattia. Thank you. And yes,
Mm,
Fabrizio, surrealist art is strange. But please tell us which picture. Which picture is it? So maybe
mm,
let's look at B now. I know the
yeah,
pictures are very small um,
mm,
in the video. So B is surrealist art.
mm,
I don't know if the picture is big enough to see the strangeness, but with the boat, there is something that looks like a boat in the picture that actually is a lot of butterflies together.
mm,
So a very, very strange image there. Okay.
yeah.
Sean, what do you think C is?
Well, we have a person, an individual in C. So when you're painting, representing an individual, we use the word portrait.
That's great. And what about when the artist makes a portrait of themselves? What is that called?
That we call a self-portrait. Self-portrait. I'll put that in the comments.
Yeah, thank you. So here we go. Self-portrait. Do you paint any self-portraits, Sean?
I have, yes, but I do, I prefer to paint other people. I know my own face too well. Other people are more interesting.
Yes, I think my favorite ones are normally portraits and not self-portraits. We have an answer for D.
Mm,
This is still life. Wonderful. Thank you, Gemma. Okay, so this is normally a painting of fruit or vegetables or an object. An object normally. Still just means
mm,
something does not move. Something is not alive. I don't like still lives. Still lifes. I think they are boring. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I agree. For me, this particular still life is good because
Okay.
Cézanne had a very interesting approach to color and composition. And I
Mhm.
think the Italian artist Morandi made really beautiful still lifes. So I would recommend him to
Okay.
appreciate still life. Mm.
Okay. Great. Okay. We have for E, Gemma again. Thank you. We have Renaissance. That's right. Um, do you know the artist for this one?
No, but I do remember studying this painting.
Okay.
It's Venus and Cupid, and it's a gift for marriage. Once a woman got married, they gifted her this subject for good luck in the marriage.
Interesting. A bit like the recent film Portrait of a Lady on Fire. It is also a
I
painting
haven't
for a
seen
marriage.
it. Is it
Ah,
is it good?
I recommend it. Yes,
Okay.
I enjoyed it, but I saw it in Milan before the cinemas closed, and so
Okay.
it was in French with Italian subtitles, the writing,
Hmm.
and so I understood most of it. I so it was a very strange experience understanding some, but not everything.
Well, two great languages for art anyway, I
Absolutely,
think.
that is very true. Okay, and speaking of great art, we have F, which
Mm.
probably many of you will recognize. So this one, I don't think we have an answer. This one is the Impressionist art.
Hmm. Do you think Van Gogh is an impressionist, Emily?
I I think he is similar to an impressionist. He
Hmm.
he worked at the same time as the big impressionist artists like Monet.
Hmm. Hmm. So I would call him a post-impressionist.
Okay.
And we can use post a lot with art to talk about what comes after, what is inspired by. And you're right, he was working around the same time as the Impressionists, but they consider him kind of a stylistic step forward. So
Mhm.
they say
Okay.
post-impressionist.
Great.
So, mm,
Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah. You can also use post in other areas as well, like literature or just to say something is after an event. So we often
mm,
talk about post 9/11, for example, post the attack in 2001. So post just means after something else, as many of you probably know. Do you like Van Gogh, Sean?
I do, I do. I think he's a very special artist. I don't know that his paintings are worth the millions they spend on them, but still, he's a great artist, I think.
Yes, I agree. He is my dad's favorite artist. He loves Van Gogh. Okay, G is an interesting one as well. Do you want to talk
Mm.
about that one?
Yes, I think it's very certainly a contemporary. When we think of sculpture, which this is three-dimensional, it's a sculpture. I think we often imagine the classics, so classical art, the Venus de Milo, Michelangelo's David. But this is huge, big contemporary sculpture of, I think, a spider. I can't really tell.
It is a spider.
Mm.
I can never pronounce the second name of the artist because I know it was Louise, something like Bourgeois, Louise Bourgeois, something like
Yeah,
that.
Bourgeois. Oh,
Yeah,
it's Louise Bourgeois. Okay.
it is.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, and yeah,
Mm.
I don't like spiders, so I don't like bigger images of this sculpture.
Yeah, I suppose that's the point. It's supposed to make
I
you
think so.
uncomfortable or something.
Yes, and I think she is from South America, somewhere in South America. But
Okay.
but I don't remember exactly
Mm.
where. Very, it's nice to have a female artist on the list as well.
Yeah, definitely a problem with the history of art.
Yes, or the history of culture in general, maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
Finally, you can probably guess this from the list. The final one is landscape. Okay. So land is another word for country, and scape just means like a scene, like an image. So it's like an image of a country, of the countryside normally. Okay. Oh, we have some more comments. So Olga has a question for you, Sean.
Thank you, Olga. That's very sweet. What school are you speaking from? Maybe I'll move.
Yeah. Just one thing, Olga. You need the auxiliary verb. We need the verb are before the person. So why aren't you? Why aren't you my teacher? Okay. And Mattia as well. Salvador Dali. Okay. Do you like him? He is a very particular artist and a strange person. He is a big genius. Yeah.
Hmm.
I, I do like him. I don't think I don't think I would display any of his artists on in my home. Um,
Hmm.
I, but he is very interesting and is very surrealist artist. David, do you like him,
Hmm.
Sean?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, yeah, he's very interesting, very particular. Definitely a very intelligent person, a genius. But
Mhm.
it, the art is very strange. I suppose it's the intention, but I don't like surrealist art generally. For me, I don't like it.
Yes, I think I find it very interesting, the ideas, but I'm not sure I completely like it. So it is that.
Mm,
But it's
yeah.
certainly an interesting period for art. Okay, so we discussed this a little already, but maybe, Sean, what's your favourite kind of art?
So I like portraits a lot. I paint portraits, and I like portraits. I like images of people. It can be religious or a portrait of someone specific, but there always has to be a person for me to
Mhm.
really appeal to me. How
Yeah,
about you?
I think for me, my favourite kind of art is Impressionist art, and that can be
Mm,
with people or it can be a landscape, but in general, that that kind of style, that way of painting for me. Please, in the comments, any students, tell us your favourite kind of art and why. Okay.
mm.
And Sean, do you have a favourite artist or sculptor?
It's a difficult question. I like very many. If I had to pick one, for me, it's Modigliani. For me,
Oh,
there's something really special about
mhm.
him.
Yeah, yeah, I like him too.
And who is your favorite Impressionist artist?
Ah, that's very difficult. I'm trying to think now. Um, I'm not sure.
Hmm.
My
I
mind
like
has gone blank now.
I like Manet a lot. I like Manet a lot, even though he's a bit before Impressionist, but I really like him.
Hmm. I like him as well. I think maybe I think Rothko is one of my favorite artists in general,
Yeah.
even though he is abstract, he is later. And my
Mhm.
favorite sculptor is another South American sculptor called Doris Salcedo, who did
Oh, yeah.
a lot of sculptures with concrete, with furniture in your house.
Yeah. She's
Um,
quite conceptual, isn't she?
she is, yes,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I saw an exhibition of her sculptures, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, so again, I've put her name in the comments for anyone who would like to Google her. So now we can talk about adjectives. Sean, would you like to read this slide?
Sure. Describing art, match the opposites. So colorful, natural, nice, traditional, happy, interesting, modern, dull, boring, linear, sad, and horrible.
Thank you. So in the comments again, you can give us the answers. I think most of you probably know many of these words, but there are some that may be new to you. So maybe, Sean, we can talk about dull. What does dull mean for
Mm.
art?
Um, Dull. It's not the opposite they have here, but another opposite for dull would be vibrant. Something which is not vibrant, which is very, I would say, probably darker, more neutral colors. It doesn't really, it's not very bright or very vibrant.
Yeah, and I think also for other contexts, if you use dull generally, it is a synonym for boring. So it's very similar to boring, but can be more specific for art, maybe.
Mm. Yeah, it's negative, quite negative.
So maybe to give to give you time to give answers in the comments, we could talk some more about this painting. So maybe
Mm.
which adjectives can we
Yeah.
use to describe this painting, which is called the Starry Night?
Mm. I think it's colorful, no?
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
I think it's
Do you
sad.
think it's happy or sad?
Yeah, I think it's more sad than happy. Um, I think blue is often a sad color in art
Mm.
or in modern art.
Yeah, yeah. We have yellow, which is a happy color, but there's much more
Mhm.
blue. So there's a bit of contrast there.
Yeah. Is it traditional?
No, I would not say it's traditional. I think it's quite modern.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we should match the adjectives. We don't have any comments yet. So, colourful, I think we talked about this a little. Colourful is the opposite of dull. So, dull, as Sean said, is like very boring colours, very dark colours, and lots of black or brown or grey, maybe. Um, Sean, what about the next one?
So for natural, the opposite I think is linear. And I'll explain this a bit because if something is linear, there's a very clear outline. So there's a very clear line or style being applied to the subject. Whereas in life, there aren't lines around people or around objects. So if you paint more naturally, there are less very strong lines. You're trying to capture reality in a more natural way.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that's a nice way to describe it. Do you prefer natural or linear art?
Really, very realistic natural art for me is not very interesting. I like it when there's some kind of style applied to a subject. So I would say I prefer a more linear approach.
Hmm. Yeah, I think for me also, it maybe adds some more character to a piece or to a person.
Mhm.
So the next one is not really specific to art. We can use nice as the opposite of horrible in any context, including art. Yes, and Mattia said that as well. Thank you. Okay. And traditional, I think we said this earlier as well. So traditional and modern. Thank you, Mattia. Perfect. And again, the next one's maybe less specific. Mattia has it. Happy and sad. Which means we have interesting and boring. Great. Thank you. So, Sean, are there any other really useful adjectives you want to talk about?
Um, Nothing is coming to mind right away. Do you have any suggestions?
Um, not. No, I don't think so. If anyone else does, please write in the comments. But these are very useful ones to talk
Mm.
about any style of art, I think.
Looking at Starry Night, one has just come to mind. I would say expressive.
Hmm.
We can talk about expressive or expressionist art, expressionistic art, where there's a lot of emotion being conveyed in the way that they paint.
Hmm. Yeah, and
Mm.
in general, guys, we can talk about expressions to be how you use your face to present an emotion. Yeah, we often talk about facial expressions when people can tell if you are happy or sad from looking at your face.
Mm.
Okay, which is probably where the art term came from. In, but you will know more about that than me, sure. Okay, so
Yeah, no, that's definitely it.
okay, so maybe for the last few minutes, think we have about 5 minutes left, so maybe we can talk about this more traditional painting. Okay, so uh, these are useful expressions for directions. Okay. Oh, we have Matthias saying easy or difficult to understand or other useful adjectives. Yeah,
Mm,
that's that's a great point. Yeah. Maybe we can talk about if this painting is easy or difficult to understand as well. Okay.
yeah.
So we have on the right, on the left, at the top, at the bottom, in the middle, and there is and there are as expressions to describe parts of a painting. Okay. So Sean, what is on the right in this painting?
On the right, there are trees, and there is, I think it's the goddess Flora, maybe. She is holding a cloth, a textile, out to receive Venus.
Mm-hmm. So we have this part is on the right. Then on the left, then we have again. I know less than you do, but we have these. We have the other two figures on the left. Um, I am not sure who they are. Maybe just um, angelic or maybe no, not angelic, but mythological characters. Do you know who these people are?
I don't remember those two actually. I think maybe just a representation of the wind or something like this.
Right. Okay. Then the top we have the sky. The sky is often at the top of a painting, and at the bottom is like the ground, the earth. Okay. What about in the middle? What is the painting mostly about, John?
It's about Venus. It's about the birth of Venus, the moment she came to exist.
Do you like this painting?
Yeah, I really love this painting. I think it's really very, maybe the most beautiful painting there is. Do you like it?
I do. Yes. Yeah. I think it's yes. I mean, Venus is very naturally beautiful. It's yeah, amazing. What about it is special, in your opinion?
I think it's a very simple painting. You know, there's not so much going on. And I actually seeing it in person in Florence, I was surprised to see that it's not very bright, it's not very colorful, but I
Right.
wouldn't call it dull because it's quite positive. It's very calm, it's very mellow, it's like meditative.
Yes. It reminds me of how the sea makes me feel in general.
Mm,
I think the sea gives a similar feeling of meditation, of calm.
mm, yeah.
Yeah. So we have about 1 minute left, guys. So if you have any final questions, please do write those in the comments. Or if you have any opinions as well about this painting or any other paintings we have seen today. So just to finish, we will maybe recap. So Sean, what have we talked about today?
Well, we talked about certainly different styles of art, opinions about those styles.
Yeah. So we
Mm,
have the Impressionist art we talked about a lot, portraits, we all seemed to like. And remember, landscapes for places about things about nature, maybe, and still life for objects. Okay. And then we talked about words to describe art as well, particularly uh, traditional and modern, the differences. Okay, so we are out of time now. So again, if you have any questions, write them in the comments. We will try to get back to you. But in general, have a lovely evening,
Yeah.
everyone, and thank you for participating. We love to hear from you. Okay,
Bye bye, everyone.
bye.